Hello, my friends. Amy Esther here, and today I want to share with you a conversation that I have with my friend Ash. She is sharing her story as she is battling POTS and the coronavirus. I cannot imagine what she was going through right now. She has had a really tough few weeks, and she's sharing her story to hopefully help some of you out there who are struggling with POTS, and maybe you're worried about the coronavirus and you're worried what would happen if you got it, and you have no idea how it affects people with POTS because we don't have a lot of information about it in those specific ways. So it's interesting to hear from someone who has actually had it. She's really strong and amazing, and I'm super excited for you to hear our conversation. It was a little bit last minute, so I apologize. I have these giant headphones. It's all I had to work with today. So sorry if they're a little bit distracting, and my house is a mess because this whole coronavirus thing. My husband's working from home. Haven't got my house as clean as I would like it, so just ignore that. But I hope you enjoy this message from my friend Ash. All right, so let's start. Will you just introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Ash, or Ashley Elston. I'm 28 years old. It's actually my birthday next Tuesday. So that's going to be really fun because I'm currently in self-isolation. I live in England, and I live right near the beach on the very south coast of England, right in the centre, right at the bottom, 1 mile from the beach. So it's a really nice area.
That's nice.
I'm married with 2 boys. I've got a 6-year-old called Thomas and a 3-year-old called Ruben. And I have POTS and Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and a variety of other issues, as I'm sure many of you
do,
also
yeah.
have.
It seems like if you have one, you just have
I like
all.
to add to my collection.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I should put it on my CV or something, or put it as letters behind my name or something like that.
Yeah, seriously. I know, right? Like after I introduce myself, I'm like, oh yeah, and let me list all the chronic illnesses I have. But like I add a new one every week. Um, so share with
Yeah.
us what's been going on.
So basically, 2.5 weeks ago, I don't know if you guys get this, but I sometimes can feel it within me when I know a big relapse is coming. Like I can sort of feel some sort of chemical imbalance. Like I can just sort of sense that
Mhm.
I'm about to have a big relapse. And I normally get that feeling in the evening time, like I can sense that I'm gonna go into insomnia and all those types of problems. I don't know if you get insomnia with your POTS, but I from time to
Yes,
time can have
definitely.
insomnia with it all. So that's how it started. I sort of got this feeling, something's not right. Um, and I told my husband, I've got a feeling that I'm going to have a time of insomnia again and relapse. So that's how it started about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And because I knew about coronavirus, it's obviously a lot more advanced in Europe than it is in the States right now. But I was sort of being overly cautious because obviously of my health, and I have to take a low dose of steroids because of my health, and that can obviously make you a little bit
Mm-hmm.
immunocompromised as well. So that's how I sort of got this inkling. Then I started having just very severe POTS relapse, tachycardia, feeling awful, zero energy, insomnia, um, all the normal stuff. So that's how it started. And I decided from that point, because coronavirus was already here at that point, I decided that I needed to no longer leave the house because I didn't want to risk catching anything. So my husband decided to start doing the school run for my kids, which I was so lucky. So many people don't have that as an option. My
Mm-hmm.
husband is able to do that. That's a big blessing. Um, so first week it was sort of manageable, sort of typical POTS relapse. But sort of for the past week, it's gotten to the stage where I've ended up in hospital because it's it's made my POTS relapse the worst it's ever been. Like, for me, I don't know if you get this or if any of your viewers do, but at around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, for some reason, every single night, my blood pressure just drops off, no matter if I've propped myself up in the bed. It's just that's what happens for me. Like, they've tested it over long periods, and every night that's what happens. So last week, I had severe chest pain, major breathlessness, and I decided this was getting too much. My heart rate was really getting too high. This was in the middle of the night, so I decided to phone 999 because this was way more than normal. I was sweating profusely. My temperature was 40 degrees. I don't even know what that is in Fahrenheit. You'll have to Google that.
I
What
will.
is
I'll
40
Google
C in
it.
Fahrenheit? Um, I'm pretty sure it's well over 100 anyway. But yeah, like also, I don't know if you get it. It might be too much information, but with my normal POTS, in the morning I can go to the toilet and pass stools at least 10 times. But with this, I've been going to the toilet 20 to 50 times in the night, and it's like severe.
Yeah.
And it's not even diarrhea, it's just like, imagine POTS times 5. Like, it's not nice. So
Yeah.
that was that. I ended up
Also,
in
it's 104
hospital.
degrees
That,
in Fahrenheit.
yeah,
104 degrees Fahrenheit. So
yeah,
yes, definitely a fever.
yeah. Okay. So then I ended up in hospital, but I had to explain to them I had recently come back from a holiday in Egypt, and even though Egypt wasn't at that time a high risk area, I felt like I should tell them. Like, I had been at a major airport, I had been abroad, and people had already died of coronavirus in the area we were. But the whole problem with all this is that the information is coming through too slowly, and they're always playing catch up. So at that stage, when I was in hospital, they didn't even isolate me. They didn't even consider that I had coronavirus. And I was in a ward at the majors department of ER with, people that have had strokes, people that have had heart attacks. And I was sat there thinking, I really don't like that I'm here. I'm putting other people at risk, and this is where they have put me. This is not my choice. I've told them very clearly
Right.
that I could potentially have coronavirus. They were like, oh, no, no, you've not been to a country where it's a problem. And I said, well, you don't know that because there's not enough testing in this country. Anyway, that's the first scenario. I was relatively stable that time. Now, so that was last Tuesday. On Friday evening, both my children came back from school with temperatures and a cough. Everyone's going on about this coughing with coronavirus and these temperatures. So as soon as they start coughing and the temperature, I'm thinking, what on earth? Like, this is not good. And obviously they then straight away had to go into isolation. So they were in isolation upstairs with my husband. I was downstairs isolated from them. And that's when I knew it was starting to get like way more real and way more risky, that I should definitely be tested for coronavirus, and my children. But oh no, none of us have still been tested.
That's great.
So this is all still going on. Obviously, like, I've had nearly 3 weeks of insomnia with all this. So I'm already drained. And I try to keep really level-headed about it all. Like, you have to try and keep your mental health from spiraling out of control. Back in the day when I was a bit more younger and didn't really realize, like, before I had my diagnosis, like, my mental health was not great. Like, I'd always spiral out of control. And it's because I didn't know that it was POTS. Like, once you know that, like, you can control it a bit more, I think. Like, you just go with what's happening. Anyway, early hours of Saturday morning, again, that sort of time, 3, 4 in the morning, where for me, I have my blood pressure dropping and my heart rate spikes to about 160 when I'm fast asleep, you know, casual.
Yeah, I know how
And
that is.
it's like I should be really stick thin and burning fat, but oh no,
I know, right?
just casual for me. Yeah. So at that time, I was in self-isolation, but I had to call out to my husband to just be 2 meters away from me, just watching me, because I had the worst chest pain I've ever had in my entire life. 45 seconds of crushing pain. My whole body was jolting. Like, I sometimes with my normal POTS can get convulsions, but this was like nothing I'd ever experienced. I thought I was going to die. I thought I was having a heart attack.
Scary.
So obviously 999 is what 911 is in America.
I assumed
So I
that.
phoned the emergency services, and ambulance came, and sorry, brain fog. They obviously take me to hospital again, but this time the policy's changed. Now I have to be isolated because, oh, actually, there are cases of people having coronavirus that haven't been in those hotspot countries, because guess what?
Right.
It spreads. And so I'm in isolation, but it's a shambles. Like, some people are coming in with gloves on, some people coming in with masks on. One nurse came in, no gloves, no mask, coughing on me. What?
What in the world?
So they do all these tests. They had to do a blood test to see if I'd actually had a heart attack. Thank goodness I actually hadn't. It was just the tachycardia gone mad. And what am I even saying?
It's okay, it happens.
Yeah, there's nothing in my brain right now. I think
Tachycardia
everyone
went
knows what I'm
mad.
talking about.
No,
Yeah,
seriously, that's me.
tachycardia went
Like
mad.
every time I make a video, there's just like, wait, can't remember anything I was just saying.
But this is just how it is. Like,
Real life.
anyway, you've not even had words to it. Like, so they did tests, but again, they're still not checking for coronavirus. Like, and they just let me go.
Wow.
And they had no toilet paper. No toilet paper in the hospital.
Wow. What
Like,
do you do then?
the NHS is normally really good. The NHS, like, I don't want it to sound like the NHS that we have is not good, because we're so lucky that we don't have to pay for our healthcare, and it's normally really good. But this is a crisis, and they haven't got any, like, everyone doesn't know what they're doing. The policies are changing every day. There isn't enough protective gear. Like, this is just how it is. And I don't think it would be as bad in America, because you guys pay through the roof for your healthcare, so you do get better care, but you also can get bankrupt. So yeah, I feel you. Now, so they send me home, same old thing, isolate, just plod along, just, take it really easy, do all the things that I'd normally do. I do a lot of like breathing exercises, and I do a tiny bit of exercise, not being too sedentary, all the typical stuff that you should do so you don't get deconditioned with POTS. That's what I've been doing. But my temperature's so high, I'm having to wash myself like 20 times a day because I just stink. Like, it's just everything on POTS on just extreme. Now, then so that was Friday night. Then Saturday, early hours in the morning, 3 a.m. Wait a minute, what day is it? No, I've got the wrong day. Wait, what day is it even today? I don't even know.
Today is Tuesday.
When you're in self-isolation, you don't know what day it is.
I know, right?
No, I think it was the early hours of Sunday morning. At some point 2 days ago, in the middle of the night, I had a situation which I've never had to this extent before. So I've had, with POTS, sometimes you can get slurred speech. It looks like you're having a stroke. You have to lie down.
Mm-hmm.
Your cognitive function's nothing.
People think you're dying.
Yeah. Yeah. So that sort of thing was going on, and it was again around 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm on my own and feeling scared, but trying to keep calm because I know that if I don't keep calm, it's going to make it worse. So my heart rate went through the roof. It was close to 200 beats per minute.
Wow.
My breathlessness was unbelievable. I couldn't speak. I couldn't call out for help. I was just gasping for breath. Then I got the most severe pain here I can ever imagine. I mean, I've had that kind of thing before, but never to this extent. And also, this eye has not recovered, like, at all. And I know that thing can happen with POTS. Like, I've got eye conditions. Like, they've told me I'm going to be blind when I'm older because of all this. But this eye, like, this whole area was just severe. I then start having major problem with breathing and such chest pain.
Oh, scary.
And I was so scared. I really thought to myself, unless I get in control of this situation, I've got a good chance that I'm going to die right now and I will be on my own. So I then somehow had the idea that maybe I should take some more of the steroids I have, like, because that increases my blood pressure and it will reduce. Well, I did that. It didn't do anything, and I'm having all this thing, and I think, what the hell am I meant to do? I can't call out for my husband because I can't breathe. So I decided to literally just get myself in a situation where my head is just on the floor, my legs are right up in the air, and I'm just pouring the blood into my brain to get it back. And obviously that helped. And eventually I was able to speak. I was able to phone 999 and get some help.
Wow.
And the paramedic came with the full gear on, complete protective gear, and was able to check all my vitals, make sure that I wasn't overdoing it with these steroids, because I have been taking more than is normal. Just because it's all been so much more extreme than normal. And they basically said in normal times you would be taken straight to hospital, you'd be monitored, you'd be taken care of, you wouldn't be on your own, you'd be in a proper supported ward. But they basically said there's no space for you.
Wow.
And there's no space for loads of people that are struggling, because they've got all these elderly people. I live in an area where there's a lot of elderly people.
Yeah.
And they don't have enough ventilators. I obviously didn't need a ventilator, but I was feeling absolute crap. And
Right.
it's damaging, to not have blood going in your brain and have to be upside down for 2 hours or whatever. And the chest pain and the breathlessness. But yeah, so that's what happened then. And I've also lost so much weight.
Right.
I needed to lose weight, so maybe it's a good
Oh,
thing.
whatever.
But I just lost so much weight. But what I think, the reason I wanted to share this whole situation is because I think there's a lot of misinformation. Some people have gone to one extreme where they're panicking, they're buying everything in the shop, and they think that the world's going to end. And that's not the way to be, and that's not what I'm saying. And then there's other people that are just oh yeah, it's just a cold, just continue as normal. And that's wrong as well.
Right.
Because there's people with more severe problems than me, and there's elderly people that will die from this. So the biggest thing that we're doing wrong in this country is we're not testing people. They're not even testing the health staff, the national health staff. They're not even getting tested, and I know why it is because as soon as they get confirmed that they have coronavirus, they won't be able to work, and there's going to be so many people because they've been exposed to stuff that cannot work, that then there'll be no one to sort of support the ventilators. So they're just not testing them. But this is reckless.
That's just
Like,
going to cause more issues and
really
more
reckless.
problems. Yeah.
I know. So the World Health Organization said yesterday the best way to combat this is to test, and then to, if anyone comes out positive, to track those people down,
Right.
trace who they've been around, and can find them. Because if you don't know who's got it, and that's the other thing, unfortunately, this country was following advice because originally, like just even a week ago, they just thought it's spread by coughing, but it's not. You can have coronavirus with 0 symptoms, just be near someone and they can get it.
Right.
So they have told me at the moment I've got to be in my house for the minimum of 12 weeks. But they
Wow.
are saying that this pandemic could be going on for 18 months.
Wow.
So
Last I heard was till
I'm really
August.
grateful.
That's longer than what they're saying
No,
here in the US.
no.
That's insane.
Well, there's just so much missing. Like, there's no sort of unity in the decision
Right.
about what's the best
There's
procedure. Like, so many
extreme
different
and
countries
extreme.
are doing different
You're either
things.
on this end or you're on this end of
Yeah.
the spectrum. So,
Like my cousins, I've got a cousin that lives just 10 minutes from my house. Her husband and her have been having such severe breathlessness. And the saddest thing is that her young children have actually had all the breathlessness. They've been put on steroids and they've just been left to get on with it at home. Just, just casually struggle to breathe for days on end and just hope for the best. And that's just how it's been. And I think a lot of people are going to be in that situation because they are not going to have the beds for
right.
everyone. And especially in America, where, some people may not have the level of cover, or they're worried about bills or whatever it is and not get the help they need.
Yeah.
And but all I'm saying is that do all you can to not get this thing and to not spread it, because if you've got POTS, it's going to be the most extreme you've ever had POTS.
Right.
Like, I feel so grateful for my beliefs and also my children, because without them, there's been so many times in my life where I think, like, I can't keep doing this. You can see why people feel suicidal, because I've been there so many times. Like, I've never prayed so much in my entire life as I have in the last week.
Right.
Like, normally when I pray, I just sort of like say it in my head, and I do believe it, but it's never been like this. Like, I've been kneeling down, pleading out loud, calling down any power I can to get help,
Right.
and literally like making promises to God that if my life is spared, like,
Yeah.
this is like, and this is the beginning. Like,
But there's not much else you can do sometimes but pray and keep
I
the faith
know,
and keep going.
I
Well,
know,
thank you for sharing your story. I feel
but
like it's going to help a lot of people who, one, maybe are
and also there's another, like, I don't know when I can see my children again, because
right.
like, I can't be out of this room for 14 days.
Wow.
My husband's ill as well.
Really?
He's got it. Yeah. And we're struggling with the kids. My parents live nearby, and thankfully they're not too old. They're like in their 50s. They're a little bit overweight, but they haven't really got, my dad's got a little bit of dysautonomia, but nothing much. And my mum's all right. But do I want to, like, my children have been symptomatic. Are they going to have to expose themselves to it as well to look after the kids?
Right.
So
Are the schools
everyone needs
closed
to
there?
really think carefully.
Schools are closed here.
Schools aren't even closed.
Really?
So the schools aren't even closed. I haven't sent my children to school for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Like,
either.
'cause I can't take any risks.
Right. Yeah. Right now
And
school's out for 3 weeks, and then I've heard rumors it might be even longer, but for now it's the next 3 weeks.
well, our school system is supposedly all closing down on Friday, and supposedly they won't be going back to school until September.
Wow.
So this whole 3 week thing is a load of rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not going to be a short thing.
Right.
Like, in the UK, so many small businesses and medium-sized businesses, they're all failing.
I know,
Thankfully,
it
we
breaks
do
my
have a
heart.
government that is trying to step in.
Yeah.
So, like, I personally don't have those stresses. Like, I own my home, I
Mm-hmm.
work from home, I run my own business, and I'm not concerned. My husband actually is losing his job
Really? Oh.
as of the end of March. But we already knew about that,
Oh,
and he's
really?
getting a bit of a payoff. So, but we're just going to have a break. He's going to have a break. We're in a position where he can have a break for a few months. Other people are not in that position. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if
Yeah.
they're living paycheck to paycheck or if they're in debt.
Yeah.
So it's just unprecedented. And I just want everyone to know that this is not a little cold. Like, this is,
This is
people are having
serious.
real problems, even healthy people.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And for me to have felt like I could have potentially have just died on my own yesterday,
It's terrifying.
like, I don't feel that bad now. I know full well that about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to be having problems again,
Yeah.
and I've just got to manage that. And like it's just like with all the skills I've learned with my normal POTS. You know it's going to happen. You know that you're having a relapse. You know that you're potentially not going to sleep for at least a few weeks, or not
Mm-hmm.
properly anyway. You just have to go with it, and it sucks. Sometimes I look at other mums that don't have any problems, and I'm just like, I can't even imagine what that would be like. I
Yeah.
can't
I
actually
understand
imagine what it'd be like
that.
to not, like, when you put the laundry in the washing machine and to not feel like you're in the hot mess
Mm-hmm.
and gonna need to lie down for half an hour.
Yeah, seriously.
But it's all love. And do you know what's really interesting? Because of all this, there is a blessing. They've actually found that I've got some sort of problem with my adrenal system as well. I
Really?
don't know if you know any people with POTS that have got Addisons disease and other adrenal and endocrine problems, but that's really interesting. Like,
Yeah.
they're now testing me and referring me to find out about endocrine problems, and Addison's disease and endocrine problems can actually cause POTS. So
Wow.
I might be finding out what's actually causing it. And
Yeah.
if I can fix the root problem, I can sort out all the crappy POTS stuff.
Right.
So there's always a silver lining.
Yeah. I'm
And I
curious
wouldn't
if,
have known any of this if I said.
yeah, if anyone who's watching this has any of like Addison's disease or anything she's talking about, put it in the comments and
Yeah.
we'll see if that's more common with people with POTS.
Adrenal insufficiency, Addison's disease, any endocrine type problems. I'm really
Yeah.
interested to find out about that, because I've heard that it's very linked to
Mhm.
POTS and can even cause it. And then if you've got both of them, they then trigger each other, and it's just.
Right.
And it's why sometimes I don't always get that much relief when I lie down. Like some people, they lie down and then they're okay and then they
Mhm.
can carry on. Well, I often don't feel that great even when I do lie
Really?
down. And my sister has it as well. My sister has got all this problem. She's only 19. When I was her age, I was nowhere near as bad as she is.
Yeah.
And so now we're both being referred to an endocrine specialist. So anyone know anything about that? I'd love to know, because
Yeah.
I'm on this new journey of discovery to add
Yeah.
to my little criteria
Right.
and my little letters.
Well, and I have Hashimoto's, which is also part of the endocrine system too. So I feel like they're all just linked. And that's the thing with POTS is it affects every part of your body because it's like your blood with, digestion and it just your brain and it just affects everything. And so it just seems like everyone I talk to has POTS,
Another thing I'd like to
multiple
know.
things. What were you
I'd
gonna
love
say?
to know as well. I also have pelvic venous congestion syndrome. That is internal varicose veins in my pelvis. I'd love to
Really?
know if anyone else has
Never heard of
POTS
that.
as well as that, because I have
Interesting.
refluxing veins inside my pelvis just to add to all the other circulatory and blood pressure problems. So if
Wow.
anyone has that, I'd be very interested to
Yeah.
know.
Let us know.
Like, sometimes I feel like I know more than the flipping consultants because we have to search for it. We are trying to find out how to be well. So we're on this discovery and we've all got to support each other because it's mental.
Yeah, seriously.
But
Well, thank you for sharing your story. I feel like it's going to help so many people out there, especially during this scary time when people are kind of freaking out, and it's good to hear from someone who's actually been through it, especially, with the health problems that we have. So, thank you so much for sharing your story. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video while we talked with Ash about living with POTS and the coronavirus. It can be really scary. It's a very scary time here on planet Earth. So I know we are all a little nervous, but I hope that you guys all feel hope and feel like we can get through this together. I am here for you. If you need someone to talk to, head over to my Instagram, send me a message, leave me a comment below. We would love to hear from you and hear your concerns and what you are going through wherever you are on this planet, because it can be scary at any place. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you would like to be interviewed and tell me your story and tell everyone here your story about your chronic illness. It doesn't have to be about the coronavirus, but just your story with chronic illness. Please send me a message, an email. My email is in the description below. And I would love to set up a time for us to talk so that we can share your story, because we all have unique stories. And I think it really helps to connect with other people who are going through something similar. This story that Ash shared has really helped me to feel a little more at peace, to kind of know what to look for with the coronavirus and POTS. And I know so many of you have stories that could help me and so many others out there. So if you're interested in that, send me a message and I would love to interview you here on my channel. I hope you guys have a beautiful day and I will see you on my next video.